Right. Good morning. I apologize for the slight delay in starting this. I had no idea we were supposed to start at 10:15, but we'll start now. So we are very pleased that you could join us for this session on trying to understand the proper balance between finding our goals for social performance and our sustainability goals, especially in this time of financial crisis. So we are very pleased to have for our presenters this morning, Ms. Elizabeth Larson of the MIX Incorporated. She is the Asia Regional Manager for MIX. And Mrs. Alip, who's the Director for Research of CARD-MRI. So basically, I think we've seen in the past day and a half or day that the MFI sector in the Philippines is very diverse, and maybe if there's one commonality between all of us is that we belong to a profession where our mothers can never explain what we do. There are times when I realize that's probably the only reason why she sent me to law school. And on some level, it's partly because of the nature of our work, which is we always refer ourselves to ourselves as double bottom line institutions. We care about both financial sustainability, sustainable growth for our organizations, and we care about financial empowerment for our members. And although we know deep in our hearts and in many instances that these are not mutually exclusive goals, there is a demand on our end to always be aware of how we balance and how we make sure we find a balance along these two goals. And so, for example, in some of the more recent issues that we've been seeing in some of our social performance initiatives in this country, like for example in the use of poverty scorecards in terms of recruiting, we see real tensions between, on one hand, loan officers meeting their outreach targets, and at the same time trying to make sure that the people they're reaching are below a particular poverty threshold. And there is real tension there, to the point that some loan officers might be tempted to massage the numbers, but those are real issues. On the flip side, there are moments when we see that focusing on serving the poor has very clear financial payoffs. One MFI that we're partnering with had this experience of focusing too much on doing cash flow analysis, which focused on the ability to repay, which is good in general. But what happened there is that they ended up moving with a subsegment of the population which was more urbanized and therefore had more options in terms of lenders. And because of that, a moral hazard situation came up, and they felt less inclined to comply with the responsibilities to the creditors. And so those are some of the issues which I think we are facing right now as we go through our day-to-day attempts to balance these two goals. The other thing I think which is important for this morning, and this is where Elizabeth will focus on, is that in order for us to really pursue this double bottom line, we need to have an ability to develop the language regarding social performance in the same way that the language regarding financial performance has been developed. I mean, when we start talking about financial performance, we use very quick codes like operational self-sufficiency, ROE, return on assets, return on equity. There's a language developed there which we already understand. But when it comes to social performance, somebody says the word impact, and 30 people in one room will have 60 meanings for that. And so how can we develop that kind of clarity in our thinking? And it's not easy, but it's critical. And so one of the things that we're going to go through today is the proposal of the MIX to kind of look at the different ways by which we can look at the different dimensions of social performance, right? Starting from the purpose of the organization, their strategies and their systems, their policies and their systems for compliance, and a specific group that focuses on the specific indicators of social performance. And then after that, Mrs. Alip will come and talk about how a particular MFI is grappling with these kinds of issues on the ground. So, to end, we just wanted to emphasize that a lot of times crises have this uncanny ability to make us pay attention to what is important. We all know that we should exercise, but nobody ever exercises until we feel that kind of palpitation. Now I think we're feeling that palpitation, and it's important for us to really pay attention to how we try to balance these two goals. So to begin, we'll have Ms. Elizabeth Larson talk about the work of the social performance indicators of the